Hey everyone, I'm Matt,
And I'm Lesley.
and this is Glam That
Glam
Plugin.
that plugin.
Yes, I'm so excited. We are re-kicking this off and doing a new format and trying to work out the kinks. I think the little bit of the lagging video makes the synchronized show opener a little fun. We'll
Clearly,
get it
we
right.
are highly practiced professionals.
This is Glam That Plugin, everyone, and this is a spot where we take freemium plugins and we take a look at the way they're built out and the way that they're marketed, and we audit them in detail with scathing reviews. No, with really fun and nice constructive reviews, and and put it all into a document, send it over to the author, and then we bring them on board and try to talk with them through why we say the things that we say in order to make the plugins better. The marketing, the website, so the in-plugin marketing, all that kind of thing. And my name is Matt Cromwell. I'm from GiveWP. I'm now Senior Director of Customer Experience at StellarWP. I've been building freemium plugins for about 8 years now, and excited to keep doing it.
And I'm Leslie Sim from Newsletter Glue, which I co founded. And we are a newsletter plugin which lets you connect to your email service provider and send newsletters from WordPress.
And today we are auditing a plugin called Social Link Pages. So we're going to bring our special guest, Corey Maass, up here with us today. Corey.
Hey, Corey.
Glam.
Hey there.
How's it going?
I am so excited to be here. I'm going to treat this late night talk show or something. So,
That's exactly what it is. Corey, first things first, tell us a little bit about Social Link Pages.
I'm Corey Maass. I've been building websites for 20 plus years and been in the WordPress space for 10 plus years. I've launched a few different products, and Social Link Pages is the one we're talking about today. Started a few years ago. I'm a musician as a hobby, and I tried some of the other link in bio products that are out there. And I said, why am I driving traffic to their website? I've already got a website. Why can't I just put pages on my own website, but in that link in bio style? So, typical developer, instead of just paying somebody else a few bucks a month, I spent hundreds of hours building my own plugin and decided to release it for the benefit of other people.
What we do typically around here is we go through a couple different aspects. It's always going to be the README file, and which is for the uninitiated, it's called readme.md or readme.txt, and it's what populates the marketing page of the WordPress.org plugin or theme. And we're going to audit that for how it promotes the plugin. We also are going to talk about, Lesley's going to talk a bit about the website. You can't really promote much if you don't have a website. How well does the README promote the website? How well does the plugin promote the website? How well does the website do by itself? And then we're going to talk about the monetization strategy. A really fundamental aspect of any business is how you monetize your product. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with the in-plugin marketing, which is always a fun subject. A lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about how you do in-plugin marketing. Now it's time to review the README. Here we are. So the README, social link pages. This is what we got right now, and I love it. I really tried to beat it up a lot and take a look at it from a lot of different aspects and areas. And the one thing, a couple things stand out. I really like the the colors and the banner. I think it looks good. It's strong. It definitely draws attention, which is good. I'd love for you to have your website there. That's one that's really important, is making sure that your website is linked in up here. One thing that's missing for sure is also just a little bit, this is one of those controversial things, but every plugin really has to do it. A little tiny bit of keyword stuffing in your title would be useful. You
Ooh,
could change
smart.
the title. Yeah, you could change the title however you like. It's not going to impact your slug at all. But like social link pages, dash, link in bio page, landing page generator, something like that. That's really helpful. One thing I found that you're doing a great job at, any of the keywords that I looked for, you rank first right now for all of them. So great job there.
Thank you.
The biggest way in which we test things like that is through the tags. So right now you have 4 tags here. Technically, you can have up to 5 tags show on this page right here. And you can put 20 tags in your README if you wanted.
Yeah,
And
but
some of the tags,
I've read you get yelled at for that. So or they don't
it's
count them,
possible.
or that's a ding against you or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's something
originally I
that,
had many more. I took a bunch out.
yeah, it's something that essentially moderators of the forum, of the plugin directory, don't want you stuffing a bunch of keywords in your README, that, especially if they're not relevant. That's the issue. But only 5 are going to show up here, and any more that you have after that, if they're relevant, you're not going to get in trouble for putting more relevant tags in your README. But it literally doesn't count more than 12 total. So anything more than 12 really doesn't matter after that. But so I checked on all these tags. I honestly found landing page to be a tag that you probably don't need, quite honestly, because the kind of results that you're going to get for that term, things like Elementor or website builder, these types of big page builder things, Beaver builder, these all make sense for landing page. I know that technically what you're doing is you're building a landing page or the LinkedIn bio links, but generally I think when folks are searching for your feature, they're not searching for a landing page, they're searching for link in bio. And that was the biggest one that I felt was missing, that I like to see in there, is link in bio as a term. I think that's
As a tag, you
probably
mean?
the most searched. Yeah, as a tag, thank you. I think that's
Yeah,
probably the most searched one.
I agree. One of the things that I have struggled with is how to spell it, because a lot of different, it's now a term that a lot of people use. There's
Mhm.
no standard way to spell it. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Generally, for things like that, what the best resource we have for things like that is honestly just like Google Search Console, being able to see what people actually search for as much as possible, and or even Google Trends, especially with the rise of Linktree and things like that. A lot of those terms should have trending data now, so you can look for those. I did search for link in bio WordPress plugin, and one of your competitors shows up here. And that's not super surprising because Google ranks things differently than WordPress.org does. And that's because they have link in bio WordPress plugin literally in the title of their WordPress README. So I think that's a term that you want to aspire towards for sure.
Sure.
Like, you can probably change it up today, rank on Word, but doing it, I think, is more the Google search, because I've found over time that when people are looking for a WordPress plugin, they search Google. They don't go to WordPress/plugins and search there all that much. They're going to Google. So,
That's been my experience too.
yeah. Other than that, a couple other things that I think are really important. Some of the copy I think is a little bit too short. I think you could definitely use with more copy here. I would probably aim for closer to like between 1,200 and 1,500 words, quite honestly. Again, that's mostly for Google's purposes more than anything else. One way you could do that easily is to actually leverage the FAQ section. I thought it was clever to link to the website, and I'm not saying don't link to the website, but you can actually leverage this really well, and Google really loves FAQs, and it will recognize this as an FAQ. And in the answer to your questions, to any of the questions, you can link to your website there. I actually think that would be more effective than just saying go to the website for FAQs.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I'd love to see some updated screenshots. I like this size though, the like square size. I'm like, I need to do some more square size screenshots, honestly. Mine are all 16 by 9, I think. I like this size here. It looks good. But I think those are all my major ones. Nice. Corey, what's your take?
That's all great feedback. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that I haven't revisited in a while. And so, yeah, I'll go make some changes today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think the summary really is a focus on link in bio, just because I think it's the highest volume term. And to start focusing on how this page can rank in Google more so than WordPress.org, because you're doing great on .org. Alrighty, so next up, Lesley is going to talk about the website.
So I wanted to start off with a question, actually, Corey. What
Sure.
are your main sources of traffic for the homepage? Are people visiting or landing on your homepage via the plugin directory, SEO, or some other way?
I think most people are coming from either Google or similar searches or from the plugin repo.
So I asked this because I wanted to get a sense of what the intention of these people are when they land on your page, and then also clarify what your intention is for the homepage. Do you have a sense of that?
I don't. This has been, unfortunately, like a lot of these sorts of websites, this has been a amalgamation of time and directives. So it currently doesn't have one good, clear focus, which I think maybe is what you're getting at.
Yeah. So I guess if you don't have the data, I think a good starting point is just to sell the Pro plugin as like a standalone, and then mention the free plugin in a very secondary or even tertiary way. Now they're kind of free and pro are both fighting for attention on the site. And I think it's important to pick one.
Okay, great.
If you can pick the one that makes you money, then why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the first suggestion. The second thing that I wanted to say was that the copy is really great. I thought everything was really clear, and I really got a good sense of what it is I'm looking at just by scrolling down the page. Like, you're kind of answering my questions as I'm going. I love these
benefit of hiring a
pages.
professional writer.
Nice.
I was working with a writer at the time, and so pre-Chat GPT. Now I'm gonna just go take all of this and plug it into Chat GPT and guaranteed to double my revenue, as I understand it. But at the time, yeah, I stubbed out the copy and then sent it to him, and he gave it life and light and energy. So highly recommended. If
some poor contract writer is tweeting right now, I just found out on a podcast that I got fired by ChatGPT.
Yeah, so kudos to the copywriter, because everything was really clear and really easy and understandable.
Great.
So now for the not so good parts, the parts
Sure.
that need work. So I think like overall the colors and the design needs a lot of help in like a foundational kind of way. What I mean by that is, for example, the green. I know this is a weird word, but this is not, it's like not an appetizing green. Yeah, and when the color is not nice or like easy on the eyes, it makes it like snowballs, and it subconsciously makes everything else, makes a person feel uncomfortable when they're reading or on your site or plugin.
You don't think like snot green is a good way to go then?
I think there are other greens.
As a brand that also has a green, I don't want to say snot green, but I don't think it's a bash against all greens.
Yeah,
Lesley?
no, definitely
No,
not.
but I think
about
your
the
feedback's
hue
great. Yeah, this could be an accent color rather than featured quite so prominently.
Yeah. So I don't know how to pronounce this. Colors Coolers is a great way to just play with color templates.
Yeah. So if you on the website, I'm going to give something away here. On my website, if you go to sociallinkpages.com/assets, this is where I store all of my, and you can see there's the color scheme with the link to the colors theme right there.
I love it. That's actually
Nice.
a good color scheme.
Yeah.
I like it.
See, it's not green works, but not in the way I'm using it. But yeah, it's a great color scheme in that, like, lately I don't take logos too seriously. I don't take color schemes too seriously. I try to have fun with them. But here, Lesley, I think your advice is really poignant in that I'm overdoing it.
Yeah, a little bit. So that was the first thing. And actually, while we're on the topic of color schemes, one thing that is often overlooked is how many color variations you really need. As an example, so colors or coolers provides one of each color, but in reality, you might need five grays or 5 whites or even 5 pinks in order to get a website or a plugin UI looking really nice and sleek. So that's something to think about as well.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's not talk too much about colors. So the other thing was just design components. There's this. So what's happening is that there are a couple of places where the way you've done things kind of break design conventions. And what that means is that someone, so the first rule of UI design is that users spend more time on other websites than your website. And so what that means is that they want to see things that they're used to. Like X means you can click on it and you can exit a page. Left arrow means back, and so on and so forth. And so you want to stick to those conventions as much as possible so that users aren't confused or surprised when they head to your site, and they can just navigate your page without thinking, and that allows them to focus a lot more on the content rather than trying to figure out how to read your page. So a couple of things that stood out to me were this box. So typically on above the fold, there isn't an additional box. It's just the text directly on the background. Most buttons don't have an additional tiny text on the top that says learn about. It's just a verb going to somewhere else. So learn more or get started now, stuff like that. This is like a button with a link and an arrow. So this breaks a lot of conventions. So I'd suggest this just be, I don't know, maybe social link page demo or something like that. Check out social links page demo. Headers are typically not highlighted in this way unless unless you're Vimeo and you're trying to do it for your videos as an overlay. But if not, then this makes it look confusing. It looks like it's either already like someone has highlighted it or something's about to happen or something. So that's confusing. Yeah, and then this is the only regular button on the whole page. So you really want like all the buttons to look like this and for people to easily understand that they're buttons and not have to overthink things.
Good point.
Yeah, and then another small thing about colors. So color contrast. This is really hard to read because it's white on light gray. And you want it to be easy to read because these are your testimonials and you obviously want people to read it and be super impressed by them.
Sure.
Yeah, and then also colors again, like this is it doesn't stand out. So the point of a button is that you want it to stand out so that people will click on it. But right now this stands out more. So I bet if you did a heat map on your site, you'll see lots of people clicking on this and fewer people clicking on this. Yeah, so that's just an overview of like how to think about colors and design conventions. And at the end of the day, it's just about following what all the other sites are doing. So if you're having trouble thinking about it, just pick a website that you really like and just copy their conventions.
Sounds good.
I think that's really insightful. I feel like I learned a ton on that one alone. I know, Lesley, you have a bit more. I really want to get into your insights on pricing in particular. But Corey, what were some of your takeaways from that?
What I'm hearing, Matt, is you needed somebody to do it so badly that Lesley could give us more information to learn from. You're welcome. Joking aside, yeah, great insight. Like I said, this is definitely an example of a website that I've poked and prodded at for so long that at this point it's not one of anything. And the day that I said, oh, I need to add those 2 sections and highlight the headers, never thinking about one, like you said, conventions, 2, what other people are doing, what are my competitors doing, what are the websites that I like doing, and 3, it's not consistent with anything else on the website. So it's all in all, and I think not an excuse, but I think I'm guilty of falling into one of the traps that often happens in a situation like mine, where I'm the developer, I'm the marketer, I'm the janitor, I'm everything. And so I'm adding a feature and then I'm jumping over to and adjusting wording on the README, and then I'm jumping on Twitter and trying to add some tweets, and then, oh, whoops, somebody said I should add something to the homepage, and then I go and I do. And so unfortunately, everything gets 60 seconds of attention instead of my full attention.
Okay, that was the big picture stuff. And now I want to dive a little bit deeper. So right now we're looking at the above the fold section, and that really just means what a user sees before they start scrolling. It's like an antiquated term that comes from the newspaper era, where before you unfold the newspaper, it's just what's above the fold. And so here there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out. The first, aside from the design stuff that we already talked about, with the heading and subheading, I think most people who are looking for a plugin like yours already are familiar with the concept of link in bio, and they might already know about the alternatives like Linktree, About Me, and Card. And so what I'd like to see right on the top here is telling me exactly how you are different from these alternatives. Because I think that would be a very powerful indicator to let me, a potential user who wants to download or buy your plugin, know why I should use yours instead of Linktree, which all my other friends are already using. And that will entice me to scroll down more as well. So having something like that at the top, I think will be really helpful. Although I really love that you point this out already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my failed attempt at doing two things. One, keyword stuffing, mentioning all the competitors and trying to put it next to the word WordPress. And two, paint that picture, because honestly, one of the
Yeah.
biggest differentiators, at this point, there are 1,000 link in bio page generators. There's, as Matt showed us earlier, there's a few already in WordPress. So yes, the focusing on differentiators, I think within WordPress would be good. What I was trying to do at the time was emphasize that this is a link in bio tool for WordPress was in fact the differentiator, but I think we've moved on from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Every
think
time I hear
sorry.
some folks talking about link in bio things, they just are like, why do something like that when you could do it on WordPress really easily?
There you go.
Just the fact that it's WordPress powered by itself is a big seller, I think.
As soon as we get off this call, I'm quoting Matt saying, "Why do I need another tool when I can just do this in WordPress?" That is probably the best way it could have been put.
Yeah.
Nice. I'd actually go a step further and explain why doing it in WordPress is better than using another tool. Because for some people, it might be easier to use a different tool if they aren't already familiar or they don't want to do it on WordPress. So what's the upside of that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing. Then the second is I need to call out this woman and all the women that you have on your site. I feel like I don't know what the free one. Oh, where does this go? Yeah. They don't really add anything to the plugin because it doesn't give me more information. And in the case of the lady with the microphone, it makes it almost look like a podcast or a singing app or something. And there's something about the blurry background, the blurred out woman here that makes it almost seem, it makes me distrust the site more because you've blurred out the person. I know that's like a very psychological, subconscious thing, so take that with a pinch of salt.
No, but it's great.
But yeah, I'd actually argue that you get a lot more mileage if you just had a large phone with like a usable, like kind of an iframe inside here with the link in bio thing itself. Does that make sense?
I do like that the phone is held in a hand, because it does really show how because sometimes if it's just a device by itself, it does feel a little bit cold. But at least being able to see it, somebody's holding it, it starts to feel a lot more useful. But that's just me too.
Yeah. I wanted to personalize it. I also wanted to make it mobile because in my thinking, these are it's transactional. I don't know if that's actually true. We all want to think that two people are meeting at a concert and, hey, check out my work or whatever. Realistically, we're probably all just sitting at our desks, clicking on people's Instagram link in bio links or what have you. But I liked that feel. The other thing was I put this online now a number of years ago, and there was a lot more conversation being had around a lack of diversity and a lack of that it was all white businessmen. And I intentionally went and found pictures of people who didn't look like me, or at least tried to put that on the website. And then the other thing was I was hoping with the other picture you showed, the woman singing, was to emphasize the headline, which was trying to niche down a little bit for, because I think a lot of creative professionals or aspiring creative professionals, a lot of creatives use WordPress or end up with WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, WordPress. But if you talk to a lot of creatives, especially musicians, they all have heard of this WordPress thing. And so I was like, oh, this is great because she's a creative doing a creative thing, but let's pretend she's looking at a social link page. So the idea was there, but clearly it doesn't translate quite as well as maybe I'd hoped.
It's hard, right? Like when you're making these decisions by yourself in a room without extra people telling you what makes sense, what doesn't, and having a sounding board. So I guess that's what we're here for.
Yep. And let me show you something else. If you go to sociallinkpages.com/home-2022.
Ooh.
So this was the other concept that I was starting to play with, because I got other feedback that also said, show us what it can do. Like, we don't need a person.
Yeah.
People use their phones. We get it. And these are actual screenshots of pages.
Oh, I love this.
And okay, so I feel like I received my positive feedback.
Vindicated.
Yeah, these are actual pages that people have created using the plugin, and so you can see the variety. And obviously, over time, I'd swap some of these out. But okay, so reaffirmed that. Look how fast I can act on Lesley's excellent advice to drop the blurry woman and better show what we can actually do here.
Yeah, nice. This is like 1,000%. Yeah, good.
Okay, great.
I can't stop hovering over the stuff.
I know, isn't it fun?
Like, yeah. I'm like,
oh, I didn't realize
that the video. I'm just like doing.
I thought it was a video. You're actually hovering over them, Lesley?
Yeah, it's so addictive.
Oh, okay. Yep, it goes from black and white to color and from small to large. Good. And yeah, I was a little proud that I created this.
Yeah, cool. You should be. This is so nice.
Even with the snot green.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm just going to Spotify because I feel like they've got a similar kind of slime green. And I'm realizing that they don't actually have a landing page. They just go straight to this player. But even here, you can see that they really minimize the use of their brand color.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and that's kind of what I felt like you were alluding to, of use it as a pop or use it as an accent rather than make it the prominent color.
Yeah.
Especially in that palette that you have, the dark blue is really nice, I think. Dark blue and the white. You got lots of good colors you could work with that would make that green pop really well.
So I think the button needs to say something simpler. It could say something like see pricing or get pricing or buy now or get it now or something like that. Just so that people can click and go straight to the pricing page. I think all of this stuff is great. One thing that and I mentioned this at the top as well, but one thing that I really like to see is a comparison, like a direct comparison to Linktree and so forth. I don't think you need to compare to the WordPress competitors just because people might not even know they exist, and you just want to compare to the really big players. Linktree, I think, is the biggest one, the one that most people are familiar with. And so just comparing to them will help a lot of people get a sense for why you and not them.
Great.
Yeah, and you can do it really directly. The heading can literally just be, how do we compare to Linktree or something like that. You don't have to be subtle about it. I also think that this would be really great higher up on the page, just because people would always want to see how it works. And this is a great 60-second tutorial showing people how it works. So if this was...
Which needs to be updated, like Matt said.
Yeah. At the top, it would be fine. Final thing, we talked about the testimonials, the color just it being too gray. And if you can get pictures of the person, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
If not, if you could just get like their logo or something, like of their business or something, that would be also great. But just to add some visuals to this section. And I know it's a carousel right now, but if you can just do 2 or 3 of your top testimonials without having to wait for it to switch out, that would be better as well. Because look, if I just go here and then I'm not done reading and it's changed, and also I might miss that there, or if I'm scrolling too quickly, I might miss that there are multiple testimonials.
Yeah.
If you switch out the carousel with just showing it statically, I think that'll be better. And then last but not least, this. So at the top, you're talking about the pro, and this is where we come into what we were talking about, the homepage being of two minds. You know, you're promoting the free and the pro, and so if you could focus on the pro primarily, then you'd be able to stay ready to start getting more out of your social profiles, and then buy now or see pricing, and that kind of makes the whole thing seem more consistent.
All right, cool. Let's jump into monetization. Nice. I don't know. I could just keep hitting videos like that. It's fun. All right. So monetization subject is really just how is the plugin set up to drive income, to drive revenue and conversions in one form or another. And so I typically really like to look at the way the plugin is set up in the plugin itself, in the WordPress admin, and how it leads to the website and to pricing in particular. And of course, a little bit of just the pricing model in general of, is it a freemium, or is it a free to pro, or is it a free with add-ons, or is it a free SaaS connector? Lots of monetization options. In this case, Social Link Pages is a free with a pro add-on, I would say, which I really like that model a lot personally. And I'll just say for a couple of reasons. Biggest one is that I don't like it particularly when you have to swap out plugins in order to get the pro extensions or the pro features. For one, it often can just go wrong where like you install the pro plugin and then it like just does these weird WordPress alerts. It says, oh, you already have this plugin, or you're breaking this other plugin and it's your own plugin. It can just be problematic sometimes, unless you know how to really make it so it's deactivate this one while you're activating that one, and it's just a mess. And in those cases, you have to actually deactivate the free plugin, and the free plugin is a big funnel for your business. If you can make the pro features be an add-on to the free features, then you get to keep the free installs, keep your active install count growing, and you get to just install a new plugin and it works right out of the box. So congrats. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For people who are doing this, if a user or potential customer heads straight to Social Link Pages and never looks at the repo and never downloads the free plugin, and they want to buy the plugin straight away, how do you recommend that flow work?
Oh, that's a great question.
There one way in which like it can be a little bit weird, but I actually think it's more intuitive to go that way, because typically what happens, at least when you code it correctly, is that the plugin, the pro plugin, should be able to activate without the free plugin. It just won't do anything necessarily. And upon activation, you should get an alert that says, hey, Social Link Pages Pro requires the free plugin. We can install that for you right now. Just click here. And you click here and it installs it automatically. It makes it happen. There's several good examples of that. All the Give add-ons, for example, if you do end up buying a Give add-on and you install that and you don't have the free plugin, that's exactly what happens. It doesn't turn anything off. It doesn't break anything. It just is, hey, in order for this thing to work, you got to have this other thing. Kadence does that really well as well. Kadence Pro and things like that, or the blocks. anytime that you can install a plugin and have it gracefully say, okay, you got started. Now here's how you cross the finish line, and make that really graceful, I think it works fine.
And mine
Nice.
does not do that.
Ah, yeah.
Mine, I think it does show an alert that says you need to have the core plugin installed. But also what I realized would be helpful is on the purchase page, it says, it gives you instructions. And I think right now there's like a one line that says, install this, like a WordPress plugin, because I'm taking for granted that people have already installed a WordPress plugin, but that might not be true. So yeah, great question.
Yep. Really good. So I created this and installed this on this site a while back, and I got this today, which is interesting. I love telemetry. This is basically opting into telemetry. Is this powered by Freemius by chance?
Nope. And it's not actually connected to anything.
Cool. Once you have it connected, then you're going to get that data. That is always the hard part, is like, how do you pipe that data reliably once they opt in? But I think that kind of stuff is really useful. I did spin up a quick page, which works really well. Played around with all the different options, and even submitted a support ticket, which got resolved very quickly. Great job, Corey.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So I think
it turned out there were actually a few different icons that were having issues, so I fixed all of them at the same time. Much appreciated.
Yeah, excellent. So all of this works really well. The couple things I noticed, like Lesley was saying earlier, when you click on this one, this is a good page in different ways. What's missing here really is, why should they buy Pro? This is what this page should be doing, is why buy Pro? And right here, I feel like extra features, like the majority of this whole page should be
Features.
like, what are they and why do I care? And like, why should I pay you money for what you're calling extra features? This page just falls short on that front, but the pricing page actually does a much better job in terms of this column right here. You actually are highlighting what the actual features are. And I really like that. I also like these little preview options here. They're a little tiny. I wish maybe they popped out in a modal maybe instead of being crammed into this column. Although a modal on a pricing page is also a little bit problematic. But I like the idea of being able to preview that feature in one form or another. So if you did a modal, like, I'm not 100% on it, but if you did a modal, I'd want the dismiss button to be really very clear, because you need them to dismiss and get back to pricing. We notice there's a little bit of a hiccup at the moment. I'm sure working on that, no problem there. But all of these previews are nice. But here you're explaining really in detail why Pro has more advantages than Free does. I think really significant. And that's what this page needs in particular, because this is the page people come to from the plugin. And so I think, Lesley, what you were saying earlier is you wish that this page was pricing together, right?
Yeah, they were just the same page.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just make them the same page. Yeah, because if you can sell them on the idea here, then they don't need to view pricing, they're at pricing. Like,
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
make the pricing page be a really good seller, and make sure that you're going right straight from here into a really good page where they can buy immediately.
And
Yeah,
one
That
thing
would
I'd
be
like
my
to add to
biggest
that,
one.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to add is you can actually duplicate the two pages. So you have Pro pricing page for people who are entering from the home page into the Pro pricing page, but then you can have a separate pricing page specifically for people who are clicking on it from inside the plugin. And you don't
Yep.
even have to spend that much time to make it different. You just need to change the heading. If like only have 2 minutes, you just duplicate the page and then just change the heading and say something like, welcome free users, here's why Pro is better, or that sentiment, basically.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep. This page right here, I would call it Why Go Pro, like something like that, and make it a second place where people can buy from.
Yep.
A couple other things. One thing, actually, I would definitely ditch all of these buttons here. I don't want anybody leaving this page ever. That's why even me saying I'm nervous about putting a modal is the same. That's how nervous I am about. That's how anti I am about these buttons. I don't even want a modal popping up here, let alone like actually making them leave. Like now, when are they ever going to buy again? You just made them totally different. Let's not do that. Let's keep them here and keep selling them. Yeah, Lesley is enthusiastically nodding. So I have your support, Lesley, right? Corey, read our
Oh, sorry.
head
Yes,
nods.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize. I'm overwhelmed by the generosity and brilliance. So I didn't realize we were all nodding at the same time. I apologize.
Ditch the buttons. That's what the nodding is all about. Ditch the buttons.
Done.
Yeah. I would even
fix the buttons.
ditch
the buttons.
these.
Yep.
No, all of these. None of the only thing I might keep down here is if you wanted to do a refund policy, but even that, much rather just emphasize this really strongly. Don't have buttons down here. They definitely don't need your social. You don't want them going anywhere else, because at this stage, if they are here, they already know what's going on. They've already tested things out. They've already read about stuff that they like or don't like. They're starting to make a decision. So at this stage, give them some focus.
Sure. So if I may ask, speaking of focus, one of the things that I've long debated about here is, one, as you've said, the website needs focus specifically on that which makes me money. So should free even really be mentioned here is the first question. And the second is people who want to run. So the community version is really different from Pro. Pro is for a person, community is for somebody building a SaaS or who wants to give all the functionality to all of their users. So again, question is, should I even mention free and should I even mention community?
If you did the 2 pricing page options, for example, that this one, Why Go Pro, you don't have to mention free here at all, because you know that they got here from the free plugin. They already have free. So this one should be all Pro. And I would not probably mention community here in particular, because I think that's not a large segment, most likely, of your customer base. So this one, all Pro, 100%. Only one purchase option. This one, there's actually a really good tweet from Jason Coleman. I need to bookmark it because I'd like to have it handy, where he did an experiment with including free as a column on his pricing page on Paid Memberships Pro or not. And he said that the version that had free as a whole column actually converted better than the ones that did not have free as a column. And I think personally that makes intuitive sense if you really think about it a little bit, because one of the cardinal rules of pricing is that people tend to go for what's in the middle.
Right. You're supposed to have free. And what's occurring to me here is maybe free, Pro, and Pro Lifetime, and then community down at the bottom or something like that.
Let's put a pin in Lifetime for just a minute, because that's the next one that I'm going to beat up.
Sorry. Spoiler alert.
But yes, like three columns in one form or another, I think makes sense. Not just because of 3, but what happens is that they get to see why Pro is a better
Mhm.
idea for them than free is.
Yep.
So it's not just the visual aspect of it, but it's that they're going to combine and contrast in different ways. Another thing I would really do is really try to emphasize this one a little bit more. Right now, it's just bold, but it's important to really highlight that, maybe even with your famous snot green, perhaps. But I have a feeling that might not go fly well here. But maybe the blue, yeah. Emphasize that more because it really is. You get all of these things, plus you get all this other stuff. Instead of them trying to line up rows, they're going to
I always struggle with
think
that.
that they should line up rows. Yeah.
I've
want to
never
do
seen
that.
a pricing page that successfully solves that in my mind, where
Yeah.
almost every pro column has the everything from free plus, but you don't want to duplicate all the things, because then you've got more scrolling. So anyway, yeah, I've always debated about that.
Yeah. No, we still struggle with it too. We do the same thing on the Give. We have beat up this so many times, and I'm sure Lesley could give lots of good feedback on our page as well. It's working though; it works really well at this stage. Too, that even for us, we're really just having this arrow, and it says everything in basic. But I think it's a little bit about just the icon choices, the font choices, the way
It's a
that
cute page.
it says everything on. Yeah, I think it works overall. I think if we got more obnoxious about this, that it probably would not work as well.
Agreed.
But this is one thing that I wanted to point out too that I'd love to see is that that instead of these buttons up here, the download now or the purchase should be up here instead. I really want the very top, basically like the hero of
Yeah.
each column to have a very consistent look. And WordPress plugin, free, all that type of thing, the way you have it. But then purchase is right here. And they can go down and compare everything just fine.
Sure.
But then this is going to get their attention more than all the way down here. You know what I mean?
Yep, I like that a lot.
And then I would probably make the whole hero thing like this, maybe not this gray, but make the whole hero with the button included be a strong color in one form or another. And what that ends up doing is you could see we have that here as well, is that we're really trying to draw them mostly here. And you could see how this whole tab is green. I think you could use that here as well with Pro, that these two are just a little bit softened, whereas this one has probably the really bold, striking color that draws their attention a little bit more.
A lot of what's going on
Does that make
here
sense?
is absolutely. This is I use Beaver Builder. This is the Beaver Builder pricing page, and I had to do some hacking, which is why you see the button issue at the bottom. Clearly some styles have fallen off, because obviously the black on dark gray would not. You'll have to take my word for it, but I didn't. That's not intentional.
Yeah.
But so what I should, again, these are the things where I jumped in and did it quick, and always said, okay, I'll get back to that, and never did. So your feedback's great. I love the idea of moving everything to the top. But one of my other takeaways is that I need to not try to cram everything into a pre-built component module. They call them modules. So it's like, that was a great place to start. But at this point, I want to go rebuild the page myself and do things like emphasize the middle column, like you said, move those buttons up, to remove the footer. There's a lot I can do here for sure.
Yep. Even menu stuff like you.
Yep.
No, we don't want them going anywhere. This is one exception for us. This does go to individual add-ons, but every single individual add-on page is also a purchase page.
Sure.
And we felt like they need to be educated on that option as well. But Last one is definitely the issue of lifetime licenses, of which I am, generally speaking, 9.9 times out of 10 anti-lifetime licenses. Set me up though, Corey. What was your thinking in starting off with lifetime licenses?
Matt, let me tell you why you're wrong. There are two things to talk about. One is when I first launched the plugin, AppSumo. So a sentence of disclaimer is I am a freelance web developer. That is most of my income. And so I build products. I would obviously love them to become my bread and butter, but since they are a side project and overlap as a hobby, I tend to take a bit of an experimental approach to them. And so I'm willing to try lots of different things, often not very calculating, as you've probably discovered from our conversation and the bad choices that I've often made. All that to say, when I first launched the plugin, AppSumo had just opened its marketplace, and I'd always wanted to try doing something with AppSumo. They really only support lifetime licenses. And the marketplace was a little underwhelming because they don't market. It's not like when you're on the homepage of AppSumo, marketplace is about people discovering things. But it was a great experience. And given that I had a brand new plugin with no revenue, very quickly, I generated a few grand in revenue off of lifetime licenses. And for better or worse, this is a little cynical to say or cynical to point out, but the vast majority of the people who bought never actually used the licenses. I can't guarantee that everybody has the same experience, but it's free money. So who's not going to sign up for free money? The other thing is, so then that kind of translates to what goes on a website. From previous products, I generally saw, and I've heard anecdotal evidence from other people, that most customer lifetimes, quote unquote, don't last more than usually 2 or 3 years, which is why, to me, it makes sense to offer a lifetime that is at least 2x, probably 3x or higher, because again, if people use it forever, great. But realistically, you're actually just getting a little bit more money for customers that they might sign up for a year or two and then drop off. So to me, I like offering it. I don't see the downside because I haven't ever been put in the position where I have a product that has a lot of support, that requires a lot of support. And I've not run into the situation where somebody bugs me every day for year after year and I'm not getting any additional revenue from them. So for my own situation, my own experience, I've not seen any downside to offering lifetime.
So that all makes sense to me. Yeah, that all makes sense to me for sure. And especially in the sense of, let's say like the biggest and most important thing we said was like, you need to put together a 5-year plan of like a 5-year product roadmap right now. You might be like, it's actually pretty good. My features are pretty set. Like I might have 1 or 2 more coming, but it's not a whole lot. I can understand under those circumstances, let's do lifetime, because you're right. Like they're going to just use the same exact product. They're only going to renew if they see updates coming out continually. If updates aren't coming out continually, then, might as well get those 3 years up front as much as possible. But then if that's the case, then let's make sure that we are talking about, I think you have, it looks like a 2.5 multiple on community. And it looks like about almost, also 2.7 multiple on pro. Not too bad. but you could probably eke out a full 3 for both of them, I think. The reason why I don't like it is as a business model, generally speaking. If you're going to run a business and now you have multiple products and this is just one of them, and you have multiple income streams, this is just one of them. But if you're trying to run a business on a product, a WordPress product, then annual recurring revenue is super important, or monthly recurring revenue as well is super important, and stable and reliable, keeps things going for a long time. And lifetime licenses just end up making showing growth almost impossible. It's really hard to see actual growth in revenue when you sell a lot of lifetime licenses. That's like AppSumo does it because they have a totally different business model. They want the products that they sell to be as high value, low cost as possible. So they're going to say, yes, you have to offer lifetime because we know that we will drive more sales that way. We will get a bigger cut. We don't care what happens to your product afterwards. That's our business model.
And they don't have to support your users.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I hadn't thought about the showing growth. I've never had to, but it's becoming more and more relevant in like I've now sold a couple of products, and being able to show growth, and then also it's harder to sell lifetime licenses because the next owner isn't going to get anything out of it.
Yeah. Lot more challenging that way. So
now the only counterpoint that comes to mind that I have run into is if people are paying recurring, and some of this is automated, but convincing a user to keep renewing and to keep track of them like year over year and make sure that they're notified before they get charged and stuff like that, I have actually struggled with. It was 10 years ago now, but because it was a previous product, but having people come back to me and say, hey, what the heck? I don't even remember buying this. And I'm like, it was a year ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I do like that one of the selfish aspects, let's say, of a lifetime license is getting the money up front, and then you can forget about that user.
Yeah. No,
sorry about the
I get
dogs.
it. No worries. I get it for sure. That makes sense. I think if you're going to build a business on it, then the recurring is really important. And if you do choose that, and that's what the route you're going, you're going to do other things to maintain that relationship with every new customer so that they're not shocked and surprised when that charge comes.
Absolutely.
So cool.
And I also think, sorry, just a quick question, a quick note on that. I think the landscape has changed significantly in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, it wasn't normal for plugins to charge recurring rates, and it was pretty common for them to be one-offs. Whereas now, it's changed significantly where most plugins are recurring annually. And so if you do that, you're not going to get people being surprised. And also, I'm not sure what payments system you're using, but if you're using any of the big ones, WooCommerce, Easy Digital Downloads, they have all that email reminders set in already, and you can just customize them however you want. Or not, you don't even have to customize them. You can just let WooCommerce or EDD run a generic reminder email out of the box. So you really don't have to worry too much about that stuff nowadays.
Yeah, you can check a box now, and they will at least get an email a month before that says, hey, you've got a payment coming up, to avoid those chargebacks or screaming and yelling emails that are written in all caps.
Exactly. Cool. Last but not least, we want to talk about in-plugin marketing.
I can't get over these transitions. They're so good.
Yay!
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
All right, in plugin marketing. So this is a page. Shout out to InstaWP for creating this page easily. So this is a sandbox website with your plugin activated. And the moment I activated it, I wasn't taken anywhere. I just was I was kept in this plugin section. And yeah, so it'll be good if you actually brought me straight to the settings page. I know different people have different opinions on this, but I think if you just brought me straight to the settings page, if I activated the plugin for the first time ever, I think that's like a good compromise and between usability for like developers trying to troubleshoot and also a first-time user trying to get a good experience from your plugin. Yeah. So the first thing I noticed was because I was just stuck in your plugins page, I had to actually find where to go to hunt down your plugin settings page.
Sure.
And in this case, we only have one plugin activated, so it's easy to find. But it's actually not clear because it's link pages, not social link pages. And I suspect you did that because of the length. So I would actually say to put social link instead of link pages, because people are familiar with they'll go from word 1, 2, and 3, not word 2 and 3.
Sure.
So if you had to compromise there, then that would be the compromise I would make. I love this little pop-up. It makes it really easy to know how to start. I think this part needs to change because now it says this cannot change, so choose carefully. And then now I'm all nervous and I don't really know what to put. And that sucks. And the reality is that you can easily change.
So...
Well, not true, because I can create another page if I don't like this one.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay, now I don't. Oh yeah, so instead of close like this, you should just have an X. I think that's kind of the more typical design convention. Speaking of design conventions. Yeah, so just a little cross over here will be better. And also if I click away, I want to be able to click away and close the pop-up.
But Lesley, that's really hard to do in JavaScript.
One thing I'd also say there is both with the first one and when you make a new one, say create a new link in bio page. Instead of page, just because there is such a thing as pages in WordPress.
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
We don't want to confuse with that.
Yeah, so create a new link in bio page. Or maybe just remove the word page, create a new link in bio.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so yeah, since we've established that you can easily create as many pages as you want, it's not really a big deal if you can't change the name of the slug. Oh, also speaking of slugs, try to use something else because non-technical users are unlikely to know what a slug is. Yeah, so if it's just enter the name,
enter the link,
maybe enter the link. Yeah, I think that will help a lot. And I'm also not sure if import pages is necessary at this stage. I'm not sure what it does.
It's a cool feature, but maybe not here immediately.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, okay, so let's go into the thing itself. I had a couple of points here that I just wanted to go through. Okay, so first was, I wish that the phone was in line with this top column and this bit was somewhere else. Maybe this bit can go on the top or something, and just so that everything is in line, because I don't know, visually this just bugs me a little bit. Maybe they can go on a column here, so this doesn't need to be full width, right?
Yep.
And then so you can have that bit here, yeah, and then everything can align a lot nicer. Just a little visual thing.
Sure.
When I expand one of the tabs, I want the expanded tab to be of a different color so that I know that this is the section that I'm working on.
Okay. I'll make it's not green for you.
And I think add a section. So right now you've got this kind of downward facing caret. If it can be a plus sign, I think that would be better.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just a bit confusing. And design options, I think this is, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I think that's the main stuff that I wanted to cover over here. And if possible, I would make this phone smaller just to make it like the typical phone size. This is a gigantic phone right now.
Yeah, the challenge is that the preview screen is 16:9, which is analogous-ish to most phones. And so if to make the phone itself much smaller, then it's tiny. So that was one of the things I struggled with. It's a quirky UI to have that kind of preview, but
yeah,
I feel your pain.
Yeah, that's a minor point. I think the other points.
It's also like an iPhone 4 at this point.
Okay, and then this bit. So this is actually you upselling the pro version. So it's actually unlikely that a user will even get there if they're just kind of, I'm doing my design, blah, blah, blah. And then I scroll here. Oh, look, my design's here. And they never actually see this. So what I would do is move this whole section here, underneath here, because you've got your giant phone. You've got all this space. So if you could put stuff here, it'd be great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And instead of, so Mac talked about this as well. So instead of saying more options, more features, just say what options and features there are. And you don't have to say 50 different features. You just talk about the top 3. So custom SEO is obviously a feature. And then you could say extra styles. So now I'm going back to your pricing page. So you could say something like custom SEO, extra styles and button options, and maybe remove social link pages branding, or you could say extra support or something like
anymore,
that.
But yeah, I got yelled at by the repo police.
Yeah, you're not allowed to
for having branding on every page, even though it was there for 4 years.
Yeah, that's definitely one of their principles. You can't put front-facing things about your plugin. So
yeah. So I would change this to, let's see, better SEO, more design.
I'm still seeing the pricing page.
Oops, sorry. Better SEO, more design options, and I don't know, premium support or something.
Yep.
And then move this whole section to the top. And obviously, if you can add even more detail, but this I think is good enough.
Yeah.
And then I would change this to, see
now.
Yeah, or buy now.
Or learn why to go pro. If we want to change that page to say why go pro, then learn why you should go pro, or that doesn't sound quite right, but
give me your money.
Yeah. And then you could also, what I would like is at the bottom, say something like starts from $49.
Ooh, nice.
Something like that, so that you just anchor it and makes it seem affordable, and people who are down will be like, oh, $49 a year is super reasonable. Let's check it out.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so just like throw this whole thing over here.
One feature I was curious about, Corey, is whether you're going to do dynamic post content, like the 3 most recent posts as a section in the pro version.
That has been on the feature list for 4 years. I've never had a person request it.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Because I always thought that link in bio was like all about those mostly like Instagram folks who are like, check out more details in my link in bio. And then you want them to go and actually find like the post or whatever.
Yep. I've got a long list of things that other link in bio services do, Linktree, card, etc. Take payments, take donations, show, your latest tweets, show your latest, and I've literally never had anybody ask. So, and maybe they're just abandoning ship. I don't know, but one of the differentiators that I could add that's very WordPressy, right, is show the headlines for your latest 3 posts.
Yeah.
That's not something that somebody else could do that isn't built into your WordPress. But again, nobody has ever asked.
Awesome.
So I've.
How much have you talked to your users, like actively reached out and chatted with them?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
So maybe people want that, but they just haven't had the chance to talk to you.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I do. So I get a support ticket a day, a little less. And so I do try to engage with people who are already engaged, but it's not true. No, early on. So now there is the help us learn thing, which again, people give consent, but then I'm not actually sending any data because I never got around to plugging that in. But also previous to that, I had a questionnaire in there, but engagement was so low that I just ripped it out. I could not get anybody to talk to me about anything. I asked a couple of different questions. So maybe I need an incentive or something, but people, I think, I assume wanted in or wanted to move on. They just dismissed it. That was a failed experiment.
Yeah. I do think that doing competitive analysis is always helpful. So if which you mentioned already, if your competitors are doing things like that, there's probably real reasons why they, especially big brands like Linktree and things like that, they definitely listen to their customers. They have data on their customers. They know with certainty whether or not those things are being used or not. So
absolutely.
In the gap where you don't have as much customer input, they do, and so might as well lean on their insight and say that's probably worth doing this, regardless of whether I got the feedback or not. So
yeah, the what has worked, so I should double down on, is Lesley, if you click on into edit your page and then go to under socials, if you click on add a button, all the way at the bottom of this very long list is are we missing a button requested?
Nice.
And so people look through all of that and are like, oh, why don't you have dot? And
I
so
submitted that this week too.
There you go. See? So yeah, so you're absolutely right. What I should do is basically put that in more places. What at the bottom of the list of buttons, not social, but the list of sections, say, do you wish we had a different section? Something like that, and start collecting feedback that way. That's a great idea. Because it's already built. So it's a pretty low lift to just inject that in a few more places.
Nice.
I think I submitted to add Polywork as a platform. Or have an up and coming LinkedIn competitor.
I did not get that email.
Oh, you know what? I probably sent it from local WP and it blocked the email. That's what happened.
There you go.
Yep.
Good. Phew. But I did get your email about the icon, so I know that I know the email works anyway.
Support tickets. Yep.
There you go.
I was hoping too that you'd have ways in the UI here to highlight pro features, and I know that's also a little bit controversial.
You're not supposed to do that.
Oh no, absolutely, you can do that.
Okay. I've actually had my wrist slapped before, where because you're not supposed to gray out, and maybe we're talking about different things, but like you're not supposed to gray out anything. You're not supposed to say this isn't active unless you buy Pro. And because when you install Pro, I have all those features get injected and then they all have a little Pro flag next to them. So once you've bought Pro, because I found it underwhelming. because there's so many freaking options here that
Yeah.
suddenly there were just more options, and you're like, I don't know what I actually paid for, so I highlighted those, and I would
Yeah.
love to highlight those in the free version. But again, like in a previous plugin, there were input fields and then another input field that was grayed out, and it said, if you want access to this, buy Pro, and my plugin got taken down
Yeah.
until I
I
removed
think
it. So
it's a very fine line that they try to draw between being able to link to your Pro feature in the plugin versus building something that they would call crippleware, where you have a free plugin that essentially is crippled in one form or another. And I think that line is a little bit subjective, but it sounds like showing like an actual input field that you can't input anything into, that I could see that might
crippleware.
raise their ire a
Yep.
bit. But if you had another tab here underneath the options one, it looks like another tab and it just says pro features, and they click on that and it opens up and you just get to highlight what some of the pro features are right there. That's not too bad.
As a list.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. And same pattern under design options. If you expand that, if there was a button at the bottom that said want even more design options, sorry, where you were, like under socials,
Yep.
there's design options. So if there was a button at the bottom of that said want even more. So yeah, just lots of mention of Pro, I think, is a great
Yeah.
idea.
Find out why you should go pro and then just keep linking to that why go pro page.
Love it.
Yeah. So I would say not to go overboard on having GoPro everywhere. Instead, to just have it here and have it instead of as an option which you have to click on, it's like everything is listed out right here because you've got all this white space already.
Yeah.
And so it's not hidden anywhere. You don't have to click something to find out, although this is cool now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, it's just listed out over here.
Yeah, great.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, that was all I had to say, actually. 2 other tiny things. I write something like get support or get help instead of just a question mark. And I change page list to something else, maybe go back, or I don't know. And also, this is controversial, but very personal preference. I like that this is not taking up the full, like you can still see the sidebar. Whereas if we go back here, you can't see the sidebar anymore, and then you lose your orientation.
That was a recent change, but I needed the real estate.
Gotcha. Okay, then ignore, not important.
No, I'm with you. I'm still questioning. That was one of those things where I was like, if people really hate this, then I'll hear about it. I haven't yet, but it's still up for debate.
Cool.
Nice. This has been a very full session. We had lots of feedback. And wow, I think, honestly, I would really love to hear how things go. I think you have some good feedback for improving the README, especially in terms of that title. Let's get that title. Let's get link in bio there as a term. I really like the feedback we gave specifically on the homepage. Lesley was very detailed and methodical about design conventions that I think is really important and informative. What I like about that is that you don't have to be a designer in order to follow some conventions. So there's lots of good examples out there. Just keep it clean and consistent. Pricing page input, I think, was really significant as well. And then the in-plugin marketing, lots of opportunity there for sure. So those are some of my big takeaways. Corey, any last thoughts or feelings or emotions about
You're
all
hired.
of this?
I'll check in with you at the end of the week, see how you did, and 50% of the revenue is yours. No, the feedback was amazing, very thorough. Having somebody else's eyes on that what you're doing, again, especially as a solopreneur where I'm doing all of it myself, trying to do all of it myself, invaluable. So I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
so many good ideas. I'm excited
Yeah.
to get started.
Our pleasure. We enjoy it. So thanks so much, everybody. This has been Glam That Plugin. Have a good one.
Woohoo.